Hey, good morning. Chuck here with Apple Drains. We were just back there gathering some Sansevieria, and this is actually from a job that we did many years ago. And I'm gonna see if I can't get some footage of that, show you how it looks. It's been about 6 years. So if you remember, we put in a sump basin over here, and there it is. It's right there. And it's collecting the water from this entire courtyard. There are French drains and catch basins. Can you see the catch basin right here? Collecting all that water. The line runs all the way down and under these walks. Back to the very beginning, there's a French drain there. And as you can see, the area is extremely dry. It's just working so good. Can you see that? The beginning of the line. Under the walk, here's another catch basin. Right here. And this line, this was 5, maybe 6 years ago, you guys, and it works so good. We hooked up all the downspouts. Remember that we are in a courtyard, and all of the water from this courtyard just totally flooded this area. It was always underwater every time it rained, and look how great this is working. Systems work, and I'll actually post some of the video here so you can see exactly what we did.
Here's some video from the original install, and you can see that we're down about 20 inches, and we were collecting that water with easy flow French drain, bringing it all over to the sump basin. They actually had a piece of driftwood, a piece of petrified tree here, and they liked it. They said, "Can you go under it?" Well, of course, we can go under anything. Sidewalks, trees, it's no problem. But this whole line is easy flow with catch basins, and it collects the downspouts. All of this courtyard water is put into that sump basin. There's private utilities here. They do not locate those. So when you call 811, remember, if you've got private utilities, they will not locate that. So on one side of the courtyard, we actually installed what is called a yard drain, and that is collecting the downspouts with catch basins and a solid pipe. On the other side of the courtyard is the French drain, and we actually use the easy flow, the quick flow, which is perforated pipe surrounded by styrofoam peanuts, and it's all contained inside its own fabric. It works extremely well, and you can see, I mean, I just showed you, we've been back here just checking it out 6 years later, and it works so good. This is the original video of this install, and again, we're putting together catch basins. These are projects that you can easily do yourself. This is a retirement condominium, so they're not going to do this. They're going to pay somebody to come in here and do that. And this job is 6 years old, and it works perfectly. But really, the heart and soul of this entire system is the sump pump. Let me show you the best sump basin and sump pump to install. Starting with the sump basin, it is by far the best basin available. Remember, this job's 6 years old, and there's no problem here at all.
Okay, it's time to set up our sump basin, and the sump basin comes with 2 nipples, and they're usually at the right depth. If not, you can always drill a 4-inch hole to accept your inlet line coming in. Real simple. Get a sharp hacksaw. Cut that right off. And this is going to be where all of the water that we've collected comes in. So we call this the inlet line. Now we're going to set up the sump pump. We're going to use a Zoller. We're using a Zoller M98. It's a 1/2 horsepower pump. This pump is extremely powerful. Pushes about 60 to 80 gallons per minute, which is a couple of trash cans of water every minute. It's going to lift that water up and send it out. Very powerful pump. To set that up, this pump's heavy. It weighs about 35 to 40 pounds. Sets up pretty quick. It's got a port right here with threads. This is the discharge of the pump. We're going to start with a male threaded 1.5-inch adapter, and we screw this in here hand tight as we can make that with our hand. Next, we're going to put a small riser on here, which will accept our check valve. in the riser, before the check valve, you need to drill a 3/16 inch hole. I already drilled that. We're going to put this in here. We're going to glue this piece up. We just want to get it up here by the protection of the bar. This bar protects the float. As the float comes up and down, that just protects it, make sure it stays in place. So we're going to go ahead and glue that up. Good PVC cement. We're going to go ahead and glue both pieces, the riser and the adapter. Stick that in there, twist it a little bit, and press and hold. Just because it's liquid at this point and it can kind of pop itself back out of there. Within a few seconds, it's solid. Next, we're going to put on the check valve. The check valve only allows water to flow one direction. Because we're lifting this water up, we don't want the water to come back down. So it has a little valve inside that prevents the water from going back down. This is held together with no-hubs and stainless steel clamps. It lasts forever. It's very strong material. Don't worry about that. So slide that on. And then using your handy dandy Black & Decker with a 5/16 inch nut driver, we're going to tighten up these no-hubs. Just as tight as that drill can make it. We want to tighten up the other no-hubs. We leave the top one loose because we're still bringing this up. Now we're ready to go ahead and install everything to this point. We'll have another riser here at the top, if you can see that. We'll have another riser here at the top that will come up with a 90 and send it out of the basin. Okay, so we're going to set our sump basin down in here. We want to make sure that that nipple that we cut open is pointing into our trench. Just that simple. Next we'll set the pump in here. Square this up a little bit. The pump sits squarely on the bottom. Remember how it's going to lift the water up, and then we're going to discharge back through here, and it's actually going to go across this concrete because they're not prepared to pay for us to cut that concrete. So we're going to discharge across the concrete right into that breezeway temporarily. So next we're going to use a 2-inch hole saw, and normally we come out through the side of the pit, but because they're doing this temporary discharge, we're going to bring it up and across the ground. So we're going to come right up through the lid. You can see the little knockouts. We're just going to pick one right here, and we're going to drill right through it. Notice that the knockout is also 2-inch because it's a perfect size for 1.5-inch pipe. Now we're going to be able to send that riser up through the lid and be able to discharge. Okay, so we've plumbed a temporary discharge. Remember, normally we want to put this underground, and it would be underground. We'd have to saw cut this concrete, which is what we'll do in the future. But the association here, remember, this is a condo. And so the association just doesn't have quite that much money. We temporarily plumbed it out and let it turn into the breezeway, and we'll let it discharge across the breezeway. And we came back several years later and actually cut out the concrete. So we have a discharge. This is the discharge, if you see where the concrete was cut and repainted. And it runs all the way out. And you can see where they've discharged here. They've added some gravel to it and things like that. And here's one of those sansevierias. You can see how beautiful those plants really are. But you can see where this discharges. 1.5-inch pipe, looks like somebody drove over it, broke it. But it discharges here and just goes out into the natural area out back. So kind of cool just to take a look at a job that's 6 years old and see how well it's working. I mean, it really works great. When you design a system and you put it in the ground, it better last for 15, 20 years, if not a lifetime. Hey, this is Chuck with Apple Drainage, reminding you that if you believe you can do something, I guarantee you can do it. Have a great day.
Hi, my name is Brianna and I'm with Rescue Nursery. I work with Chuck in the greenhouse, and today I want to show you an amazing discovery of the snake plant, also known as the sansevieria. So what we have here is the snake plant actually dug up, and you see it has a beautiful, beautiful root system going on. Beautiful. It's actually called a rhizome. All of this is called the rhizome, and then it has the root system coming off of it. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring it back to the nursery, we're gonna repot it, and we're pretty much gonna bring it back to a brand new snake plant.